It's Charge Talks with Jan. Turning brokenness into ministries and stories into stepping stones, overcoming mountains and walking through valleys. It's Charge Talks with Jan. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Jan, and it is another amazing day for another amazing show. So I am so grateful for your love and support, and thank you for coming back to my channel. Thank you so much for always giving your comments. Thank you always for liking the videos, and please continue to share, subscribe, and continue to let the good word spread all across the world. So today we're going to be talking about judgmental. Yes, we're going to be talking about the fact that a lot of us take it upon ourselves to be judge, jury, and executioner. And as I like to call it, a judgmental rating system. So a lot of times when we see a brother or a sister in the church, we see them saying some unkind things about God, or we see them saying some unkind things about the ministry, we tend to say, why are they saying those things? How did they get to this point? What caused them to be so unkind towards the ministry? But what I find out is that a lot of times, how did they even get to this place is because of what somebody said, is because of what somebody did. And we quickly tend to dismiss them without even hearing the reasons as to why it is or how it is that they got to this place. And so I want to point out the fact that a lot of the times it is the ones who are called, chosen, and separated for the walk of Christ and the work of Christ who has become a stumbling block in the way of a lot of these persons who are now so unkind and cruel towards the work of God or the word of God. And we oftentimes says, you know what? Let's just dismiss them. Because, no matter what happened, they should never. And the truth is, they shouldn't. But not everybody is at the stage, of being mature as everybody else. Some persons take a longer time to grow. Some persons take a longer time for certain things to start manifesting in their lives. And so it is very important that we treat people like how we would love to be treated. So instead of taking something that we hear or, was said about a particular sister or brother in the faith to prior, to God and saying, God, this is what I heard about Jan, or this is what I see Jan going through. No, a lot of times many people don't do that. They take it and they bring them to their different chats, their different group chats, whether on WhatsApp or in the church itself, and they dissect it. Oh yes, they go in like some delicious delicacies and they use their knife and forks and they separate the meat from the bone and they put everything together and they delve in. And most of the time, when because the word is always going to come back, somebody's going to always say something. Somebody's going to always say, you know what, sister some and so said so and so. And then it moved from what sister so and so said to sister so and so, and then brother call, and then it gets to a big old melting pot of rumors, hypocrisy, and all sorts of mixed feelings. And those persons who are caught in the middle, they always get the messy end of the stick. And so most times they leave. They leave the house of God. They leave and they walk away from what God has called them to. They walk away from whatever ministries that God has put inside of them because they cannot handle what they are going through. They cannot handle the backbiting. They cannot handle the judgment. They cannot handle all of that. And so we take it upon ourselves and we create our own judgmental rating system. Yes, in the churches, there are a lot of judgmental rating system. And so persons get a lot of cut eyes, a lot of word droppings, a lot of, one of my favorite is when persons, use their mouths to point and to say, yes. That is always one of my favorites. When persons see you're coming and they give the eye and they're like,
And then when they're finished, they're, oh, bless the Lord. But if God was like, man, wow, that would be something else. But it is our duty to look at persons through grace lens, through love lenses, through mercy lenses. Why? Because we would want, if God forbid, if something should have happened to us or something was said about us, that people would not judge us, but they would love us. People would not criticize us, but they would open their arms to us. People would not backbite us, but persons would say, you know what, let me show some grace and some forgiveness towards this person. And so we ought to extend empathy to others. We ought to show others, that same love and that same peace that Jesus shows towards us. Instead of being judge, jury, and executioner to people, we ought to understand that the same way that we are fallen and risen by the grace of God, we need to extend that to others so that they can experience the love of God, so that they can experience the joy of God, so that they can know what it feels like to have fallen and the grace of God lifts them up. They can know how that feels. And it is imperative. It is absolutely imperative that we show that we allow persons in the faith to know that we don't have any right to judge. I believe it's Matthew 7 and verse 1. It says, judge not, lest ye be judged. And we often say, we don't want nobody to judge us, and we don't want nobody to say anything about us, and we don't want nobody to do this, and we don't want nobody to do that. Well, why are you doing it to somebody else? Why are we showing that which we do not want to somebody else? It is so amazing. I believe it's in the book of Corinthians. No, it's in the book of Romans. And Romans says, listen, it's a thing that I do not want to do. Yeah, Brother Paul wrote about it in Romans. He said, it's a thing that I do not want to do, I find myself doing. But the thing that I should not do, I do. And that is true. Because a lot of times the things that we shouldn't do, the things that we shouldn't say, the things that we, ought to be more mindful of, we are not. And we cast out people. We throw people out. I was told a story a few weeks ago about a pastor who God gave him this church to lead, and he came in, he swept the church, he cleaned the church, he packed up the chairs, he set everything in order for worship to start. And when the person started coming in, they saw this, elderly looking man, and he was in a 3/4 trousers and a regular shirt, and he just looked sweaty, and everybody passed him going on into the house of God. And everybody was there, and worship got all heated and excited, and everybody was in the spirit. And then it came time for the word to be ministered. And then they say that we're calling for Pastor whatever his name was, because that was not identified in the story. And they saw this old man getting up from the back of the church and walking towards the front. And they say, I want you to put your hand for the powerful man of God. And those who, were standing up, their faces were turned to the altar, so they couldn't see behind them. And so they were all clapping and cheering for this mighty man of God. And when they saw that it was the same man that they passed on their way coming in the same 3/4 trousers and regular shirt, and by now he had cooled off, they realized that it was the pastor of the church. And it's so amazing how quickly we pass judgment at people, how quickly we dismiss people by how they look, by just their appearance, by the fact that they don't fit into our status quo. It is really and truly heartbreaking when we become judge, jury, and executioner, when we take it upon ourselves to create our own judgmental rating system and judge people according to how we think that they should be judged. Who gave us that authority? God said to love. He never said to judge, because he knew that we would need to be forgiven daily, minutely, So he could not give us that power and autonomy. He knew that he needed to be that propitiator for us. He knew that he needed to be that person that would need to forgive us daily. And so it is important that we allow God to lead us and to direct us and to allow us to understand that we are not allowed to judge others, to cast down anybody, to dismiss anybody. I remember in St. John the story of Mary Magdalene, and when they found Mary and she was caught in the bed of adultery, and everybody came and said, we need to stone her. And they said, bring her to Jesus, let us stone her, because she was creating a wicked and sinful act. And Jesus said, okay, all right, so let's see what y'all have been up to. It says, he is without sin, cast the first stone. So let's draw your rap sheet. My brother Jonathan. And Jonathan started to walk away. Jesus didn't say anything. He just started to look. And he said, oh, good brother Rufus. Wow. Sister Cindy. And everybody started to dress back. Why? Because none of us are perfect. Because none of us have the right to judge anybody. So the next time you think about judging somebody, let's just quickly say, you know what? Let me show him or her how I would like to be treated. Let me give him some love. And says, listen, I don't know what you're going through, my brother. I don't know what you're going through, my sis, but Jesus knows. And because he knows, that makes a world of a difference. So if I cannot help you to pray about it, let me just encourage you to go to God on your own behalf. Because whatever we are going through, I encourage you today to know that God can help you. So instead of creating our own judgmental rating system, let us just love. Let us just show forgiveness, peace, and grace and mercy, and let it be the order of the day. So, thank you guys so much for joining, and I am so thankful for all the love and all the support. Keep safe, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.
It's Charge Talks with Jan. Turning brokenness into ministries